Sorry, I don't know what that was. Didn't have a backing track set up tonight. Apologies. I thought I better play some chords because we're going to be talking about chord theory. Is the mic even working? Hold on, mic might not be working. Let's see. Apparently it's working. Hold on. Hopefully that's it. I've lost the chat. That's alright. I lose the chat sometimes. Hiya. Thanks for coming. Who've we got in? Right, so we're doing a lesson thing tonight, so I'm going to try and get into it, kinda. I'll come and say hello to everybody. Sorry, just seen IMA640's got his pencil case and new pencils ready. Brilliant. And Trey Shrens is in the house. How you doing, mate? Right, I'll come and say hello to everybody. Have I got the proper live chat on? Yes, I do. Great. Okay. Apologies in advance for this one. Anyway, here we go. Johnny 3 Bars in the house. How you doing, mate? Thanks for coming. Malcolm Thompson's in. Hello. Search for Tone. How you doing, mate? Congratulations on your 1K subs. Good on you, mate. Well done. Fair graft this year. Last year. You know what I mean. Good on you, mate. Congrats. Get ready for augmented 13th D sus2 inverted to C flat and E sharp shaken not stirred. We'll do our best, mate. Robbie F, hello, how are you doing, mate? Thanks for coming. Peter Collins is in, hello to you and thanks for coming too, mate. Purple Rocket 666 is in the house, thank you for coming, as is John Channing. Jojo Fry, hello Jojo, how you doing? Peter Collins, did we say that? We did, I think we did. Anyway, we're getting there. Daniel Rentel, thanks for coming, mate. Who else we got here? Johnny 3 Bar, Mark Greening, hello, mate. Oh, and the chat just jumped, but not a lot, so it's alright. Gems in the house as well, there's nothing like Steve Cassidy on a Thursday night. Hey, glad to hear it. Thanks for coming. Mark Erkey's in. Graham Campbell as well. How you doing, guys? Thanks for coming. Trey Shrens in the house. Legend. Trey, you better just off you go, mate. You didn't want to see any of this. Thank you for coming, mate. Much appreciated. But we're going to be doing some very, very super duper basic chord theory. It's a bit tricky. Mark Greening, the decorators have been in. Yeah, well, not quite. Oh, this stuff. This is, I was a bit annoyed about that. You ever buy stuff off of Temu or AliExpress and then it's not like what you picture that would be. So yeah, I ordered this stuff months ago and it's been sitting through in my back room for months as well. And it wasn't until I got it out that I realised it's like wood chip pattern. You know, the stuff that everybody immediately rips out of their house. Yeah, so I just put wood chip up. Great. It wasn't the plan. I thought it was like flat panels. Anyway. That was a nightmare to go up as well. Where did we get to there? IMA640 is in and he's got his pencil case. Brilliant. Glad to hear it, mate. Anton's in. How you doing, mate? Thanks for coming. Dinger63 for Dundee. Hello, mate. Stevie Mack's in. Great. We're up to date. Right. Let's get to it, right? So I'm going to go into this new streamy thing that's set up. This angle, believe it or not. Let's get to it. Let's do some chord theory, right? So, I actually had a bit of a, is this alright? Let me know if you can hear and see and stuff, right? And when I need to go over at the chat, I need to look over this way And to allow sort of good flow of this, right? So all good if you're all chatting and stuff, which is fantastic. Please keep the chat going. It helps the stream and whatnot. But if you've actually got any like questions or anything you don't get, or you need me to double back on something, or if I've made a mistake, then type at the start of your message just 3 question marks, douche, 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 and then whatever you want to say, and then it'll stand out and I'll be able to sort of see it, hopefully. That's the plan. That's the plan, right? We'll see how it goes. Right, funnily so, you may or may not know I've been redecorating kind of stuff, right? I thought this was quite funny because I like uncovered loads of old stuff. And I thought this is quite appropriate. I found this guy. There you go. There's my degree in music, in case I needed to validate myself for teaching a chord theory lesson. This does not validate nothing, by the way, and this means nothing. I blagged this degree. You're supposed to know music stuff, but I pretty much did everything by ear. So that kind of sets up the tone for this streamy lesson type thing, right? Even though I'm a teachery guy, I don't know everything. I don't know all the theory I should know. I've got a kind of mixed balance of theory, ear, instincts, and cluelessness. A good mix of that going on. That's how I do it. So I'm going to show you kind of the stuff that's been useful to me, for starters. And what else can I say about this? Yeah. So I see a lot of guitar teachers sometimes online, or in person, or just guitar teachers in general, who teach the way that they got taught, right? I don't think that's always the best way to do it, right? It's good that it worked for you, but if you teach for a long time, you get to try different methods and approaches, and you get to see what works for more people. So the way it worked for you might not be the best way. So for example, the way I'm going to show you some things is not the way I learned it, but I wish it was, kind of thing. Does that make sense? Right, okay. Is there anything I need to check on? Right, oh, actually, sorry, we're going to double back a little bit. I'm going to go into the, can I do this, the poll? Right, just so you can see kind of where we're at, right? So I asked sort of where everybody rates themselves on their own music theory. So the basic level 1, like, you know, the open strings, 30% of you, right? So you'll get the most benefit out of this today, I would think, hopefully. 17% are in the not too bad category. You'll get maybe some benefit, if any. The people who are decent, level 42, you probably won't learn anything, sorry. And the legends, you'll learn 0. So legends probably gave it a miss. There's 3 Chord Dave, how you doing, mate? Thanks for coming. 3 Chord Dave, we might have another chorder here for you. You've come to the right place. Right, okay, so thanks everybody for voting, by the way. This was quite a higher number than it's been for a while. 172 votes, hugely appreciated, and we've got a load of comments in there as well, but I'm going to dodge the comments this time, and we'll get to what I'm hoping to do. So I was actually teaching today in school, and what am I doing? Here we go. I actually tried this lesson on a couple of people's today, and got some feedback and some tips, so and realised a couple of mistakes I'd made, so I can hopefully present it to you better. Right, are we ready? I'm not ready. Right, so, wait a minute, I've got some notes here. Right, so the plan is, what a lot of us as guitar players have is what I like to call fragmented learning, where you learn a little bit from this either video lesson, or this pal 20 years ago, or something you've seen on TV, or a book, or all these kind of little bits and bobs, right? And sometimes there's stuff missing that could be useful. So we're going to go back to the very, very super duper basics, and we're going to hopefully do a glue lesson. That's what I like to call it, right? So hopefully there's some glue in here that can stick some pre-existing things that you know together and make some sense out of it. Maybe, and what we're aiming for, hopefully, is if we can get an aha moment or two for you, then that's a total success. Even if one person gets an aha, then that's great. In fact, do me a favour, if you get an aha, just write in the comments, take on me. Right, take on me. Right, okay. So, where are we at? What else are we going to say? Right, so where I'm going to start with is, right, what makes the guitar hard is, right, you can get to a really proficient level on guitar, without knowing a lot. And see this thing here, this fretboard, this is actually a nightmare layout for learning theory, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to mix and match between guitar and keyboard. Here's one I made earlier, and I even wrote the letters on for you just before we started the stream with some post-its that are not really sticking on properly, but there you go. Right, so we're going to use this layout and we're going to use this, and hopefully we're going to make some sense out of it. Right, here's where we're going to start, sorry. Tones and semitones. Right, I'm just going to check the chat, see if there's anything here that I'm missing. Is everybody okay? Everybody's okay so far? No questions? Great, right, okay. So, tones and semitones, right? We probably already know this. So on your keyboard or whatever, generally the white notes generally are a tone apart, but there's a couple where that's not the case, right? The black notes are your sharps and flats. So basically the distance between one note to the next adjacent note, whether that's a white to black or a white to white, is what we call a semitone or a half step, right? But we're going to call it a semitone. And the distance between two is a tone, right? Now on guitar, our so look, for example, wait, show you here. Notice that there isn't a black key in between E and F, so there's no E sharp and there's no F flat. Sorry, I should probably first explain the black key in between C and D, right? So we can call that C sharp. I like to think it is C plus 1 or D minus 1, D flat, C sharp, D flat. So when it comes to the E and the F, there's no black key, so it's just E to F. There's no E sharp, there's no F flat. So let's go to the guitar. Oh, sorry, that's a big loud tone there. So the low E string going up one semitone, right? One key, one fret. At one fret, that's a semitone. And then if we went up 2 frets, it went from F to G, that's a tone, right? So there you go, semitone, tones, 2 frets. 2 frets tone, 1 fret semitone. I bet you already knew that, but like I said, we're doing super duper basics here, day one stuff, right? How are we getting on so far? Right, no one's caring. This is good. Wish I could stay. Trey, I do not blame you. Get out of here, mate, right? Listen, if you've heard Trey Shredden's playing the guitar, this is why he's leaving, right? Okay, so there we go. We're at semitone so far, right? We did the white and blacks, we did the frets. Right, okay, so the next thing is really basically the musical alphabet ranges from A to G, and then it repeats again back to A. It's a cycle. Speaking of cycle, this is the way we're going to try and think of the order of the notes in a circle, right? Rather than in a line, right? We're going to think about it like that. We're going to come to that in a minute. Right, what's next? Right, the next thing we're going to look at is, I'm going to put something on screen here. Hopefully, wait a minute, I need to get rid of this. Right, let's see if this works. Major scale. Way, it kind of works. Let's make this a bit bigger. Yeah, that'll do it. So here's our major scale. Let's just do that. Okay, now specifically what we're looking at in the major scale is, whoops, sorry. Right, not so much this guitar pattern here. We'll get to that in a minute, right? But we're looking at this here. This is the formula of the major scale and the distance between the notes. And I've lost the chat. Let's bring the chat back up. There we go. Right, so the distance between the first and the second notes is a tone. The distance between the second and the third note is a tone. The third and the fourth is a semitone, and then it's tone, 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 and then it's a semitone going back to the one again. In fact, all you really need to remember is that the distance between the third and the fourth note is a semitone. Tone, tone, sorry, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone, tone. So the C major scale is the one that's kind of used most often because all the white notes are the scale, right? So going from C to D is a tone. See, we've skipped the semitone there. So we've got C to D is a tone, D to E is a tone. Notice how the third to the fourth notes is a semitone. That's the one you need to remember. And then we've got tone, tone, and then we've got a semitone going back from the 7th note to the octave, 8 octave, right? So far so good. Sorry if we've covered all this before, but we're carrying on, right? Okay. Tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone, tone. That's the major scale. It's important stuff. Now, when I was doing this lesson today in the school, I had an actual piano and it would make a sound, but unfortunately it doesn't make a sound. So What I need to show you now is what is a chord, because this is chord theory. I'm showing you pianos, we're talking about scales, but this is chord theory, so let me get into some chord theory. So what a chord is, in its most basic form, is a group of 3 notes, right? 3 notes minimum. That means that power chords are not chords. That's something for another day. Anywho, so what we've got is, in the case of C, we're going to use the first note from the scale, the third note from the scale, and the fifth note from the scale. So first, third, fifth. We'll also call this as the root note, the third, and the fifth. And this is what we call a triad. That's the most basic form, chord form, 3-note triad, right? With me so far? So C, E, and G in this case, but we're actually not going to focus on the notes too much. We're just thinking about the intervals, which is the distance between the notes, right? So root, third, and fifth. Okay, going back to my notes, where are we at? Right, so C, E, and G. So let's look at a C chord on guitar for a minute here. Wait a minute, I need to back up. Sorry, I need to back up, apologies. I need to show you that same scale we were just talking about on the keyboard on the guitar, sorry. Right, you remember I was saying tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 right? So I'm going to do it from C. So I'm going to go up a tone, go up a tone, go up a semitone, up a tone, up a tone, up a tone, up a semitone. So that's tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, right? There's a major scale. Now, if I look at this diagram up here, there's how it's played on guitar. And in fact, I need to find C so I can do it in the same place. So fret 8. If you look at this pattern here we've got there, we're going to play it like this. Can I point to the screen there? No, it's behind it. Sorry, I was going to try and do something fancy there, but it doesn't work. Right, so hopefully you can see it there. See where it says root note? That's what I'm starting with finger 2, and I'm going basically fingers 2 to 4 on frets 8 to 10, 2, 4, then the next string 1, 2, 4. I'm talking about fingers here, and then we've got 1, 2, 4. Sorry, 1, 3, 4. So that's 8, 10, 7, 8, 10, 7, 9, 10. And that's just one octave of the major scale. That's the major scale. Right, now, this is useful because we're going to use that to sort of recognise our intervals by visually on the fretboard. We'll get to that later. Right, sorry, going back to my triads, right? So my triad, the first note, the third note, and the fifth note from the scale. C, E, G, right? There's your root, third, fifth. Now on guitar, if you play a C chord, I'm assuming you already know a C chord, looks like this, right? Now, the first note that you play is a C, second note is an E, third note is a G. That's actually all you need for a C chord, that's your triad. All you have after that is duplications of notes that we've already had. So here is another C, it's another root note, and then here is another E, it's another third. So the way I like to look at chords, and the way I would like us to look at chords when we do chord of the week in the future, is think like, don't worry, you don't need to know this now, but this is the way I want us to think in the future. Root, third, fifth, root, third. Intervals, right? That's the way I like to look at things. See, notice I'm not talking about the actual note names themselves. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Right, where's next? I'm going to show you how to make a minor chord really quickly, right? So what we do is, this happens on any chord, right? It would be great if this piano made a sound so you could hear it. So what we do is we take the first note, the third note, and the fifth note, and to make a minor chord, all you do is you take the third note and you flatten it by a semitone, right? Which means instead of being C, E, G, in this case it's going to be C, E flat, G, right? Right? So major, root, third, fifth, minor, root, flat, third, fifth. Now this is kind of going to hopefully make some sense to you on guitar. Hold on, I'm just going to check the chat. Where are we at? Right, so far no one's not getting it. There isn't anything that anybody's worried about, right? Okay, good. We're all super duper basic stuff. Super duper basic stuff, right? Okay, so I'm going to take a chord that we're already familiar with, right? Because this is where the problem starts on the guitar, right? Are you ready? Remember that major minor thing, right? You with me? Here's an E chord. Now in this particular chord shape, the intervals are not in order, right? And I'll tell you about that later on, don't worry about that just now. You may well know the difference between an E major chord and an E minor chord. You take that finger off, right? But what we're essentially doing here, this G sharp and the chord, that is the third, right? And what we're doing is when we take that finger off, we're flattening the third, making the chord minor. Alright? You with me? You with me? Now, have you ever wondered why when you play this shape here, right, you get an E chord, a major chord, but when you use the exact same shape up a string, right, and notice that I went that way and I said up because we're going up in pitch, it's getting higher. Anyway, right, you take the same chord shape up here, but now it's minor. What's going on there, right? Why isn't that major? It's major here, why isn't that major? Right, okay, I'm going to show you why. It's because of the annoying tuning of the guitar. Well, it is annoying and it's not, right? But this is why it's a notoriously difficult instrument to learn theory on, this fretboard, and because of the tuning. So the problem with the guitar is that it's almost tuned in fourths, intervals, right? Bear with me while I explain. Almost tuned in fourths, right? I'm going to use my little, hold on, can I get rid of this? Get rid of this major scale thing here. There we go. Hopefully that's gone and I've lost the chat again. Right, I'm maybe going to do about another 10 minutes of this and then we'll get to some banter, right? Because I'm getting bored already, right? So here we go. Here's my little circle of notes that I like to use. This isn't the cycle of fifths, this is just like notes written in a circle, right? And this is a really sort of quick way of, it's a cheat way, it's not perfect, but just so I can sort of show you what I'm talking about here. Now, hopefully we know the names of the open strings, right? 30% of you said you did. E, A, sorry, that's got a delay on it. E, A, D, G, B, E. If you don't memorise that, if you don't have that memorised, get that memorised, right? You could say elephants and donkeys grow big ears, Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie, whatever you want, right? It's only 6 letters, just memorise them, right? E, A, D, G, B, E, right? Okay, so the guitar is almost tuned in fourths. So when we start on the E string, right, and we go to the A string, check this out. We'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, right? E to A, we're going to call that a fourth, right? And then when we go from the A string to the next string, the D string, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you see this? Yes, you can. Right? And then D to the next string, which should be a G, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a fourth, right? And then the G to the next string, which is a B, 1, 2, what? 3. What's going on there? It should be 4, it shouldn't be a C. It should be a C. And then the next one, instead of being an E, should be a 1, 2, 3, 4. Should be an F if it was all tuned in fourths universally up, but it's not. So it's a B. Now, hold on a second, I'm going to go back to the keyboard for a second. If I remember that the distance between B and C, look, there's no black note in the middle. So it's just a semitone. It's just a half step of a difference, right? So the B string, hold on, here, come up with semitone. So this is what that note should be tuned to, but it's tuned one back. It's flattened, right? So hopefully that might make sense why you play the E chord shape here and you get a major chord, this one being the third, and then when you move it up a string set, this one now sounds minor because this string, because of the tuning of the guitar, is pre-flattened for you. So the third is already flattened in this tuning. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully one person got a wee, hopefully, right? If not, sorry. This is why I don't teach on YouTube, right? So anyway, there you go. So that's why you've got major down here, minor up here, because of the tuning of the guitar, because a lot of people wonder that. Anyway, what we're getting on. People are here. Right, cool. Okay, what's happening next? What's next on my list? So semitone lower, E shape versus A minor shape. Yeah, we did that. The third is pre-flattened, we've done that. Okay, talking about intervals. Right, so the intervals is basically the distance in between notes, right? So I'm going to go back to a major scale again, right? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, right? So that's basically, if you could hear this, it would be do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. I know, I'm a beautiful singer, I can't help it, right? But anyhow, so that's our major scale, right? Now, the distance from the first note to the second note, we basically call that a second, right? And then we'll call this a third. We'll call it a major third because it's from the major scale. We'll call this we're just going to dumb it down a bit, right? We're going to call this a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, and an eighth, an octave, right? So it's the same note, an octave higher, like a whole sequence higher on the keyboard, right? So there we go, ba 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 ba. So that's our intervals there. Now, what you want to get used to is visualizing these intervals on the fretboard, right? And this is where your scale pattern comes in handy. Now, I've just said that the guitar is a notoriously difficult instrument for the layout of theory, the fretboard, but it does have some benefits, and that's the guitar is just such a great instrument for pattern-based learning, right? Let me bring this back up. There we go, right, so it's a wee bit tricky. I'm going to do this down in G, right, just because it gives me kind of scope to move up the fretboard. Actually, I'm not needing to move up the fretboard, but I'll do it in G anyway, right? So this note I'm playing right here, this G, that's this one here, right, that the cursor's on, right? And then I'm going to go to A. Now, these are both on the same string, so you can't hear them, but I'm going to use the open A and the G at the same time. There you go. There's the sound of a second, right? And then we're going to have the major third. That's these two notes here, ba, ba, right? And then these two here are going to be the fourth, right? And then these two here, the first, I'm always going from the first note to another one. So I went from the first note to the second, first to the third, that's a third, first to the fourth, that's a fourth. This one I'm about to do now is the first to the fifth. This is a power chord, G5 if you like, that's why it's called G5, because it's the root in fifth. Right, and then we're going to have the sixth, and then we're going to have the seventh, oops, and then the octave. So recognizing these patterns is quite useful. If you get into another octave, you're going to notice further patterns. That was like a tenth in classical terms, but it's a third. Hopefully we know what we're talking about. Anyhow, no it wasn't, that was the 10th there, sorry. Right, okay, so far so good, hopefully. Learn your major scale, it's important. You kind of assign each note in the scale a number. Can I give you an example? Let me think, hold on. No, I'll leave it for now. Wait a minute, wait, I'll give you one, right? No, I won't, I'll leave it, sorry. It would have been more helpful if I had the keyboard working, right? No, I'm going to do it, right? We're going to go a little bit further. Can my hand a little bit further? Let me know in the chat. Let me bring up the chat. Is that enough? That's like pretty much most of what I wanted to cover in the basic primer. But let me know if there's more that you need to know. Robbie F, the E major to A minor shift now makes sense, thanks. Great, that was all I wanted. I was one person to get it, right? Or not to get it, I'm sure you all got it. Probably a lot of you already knew it, but hopefully there was something worthwhile in there, right? Okay. Right. We can handle more. Ivor could handle more. Guitar Quackery's in the house. How you doing, mate? Thanks for coming, mate. Sorry, mate, you won't like this either. It's we're doing a tutorial. Sorry. It's a one-off. Right. What was saying? All good, keep going. Right. If I get one more vote to keep going, I will keep going. Sorry, and I've missed some people as well. John Little, thanks for coming, mate. GRB Aquatics in the house. Carry on, John Channing. Right, we're going to carry on. Okay, great. Right, so here's the next thing. For people who don't know, right, I know that a lot of you will know stuff already, but for the people who don't know, another one of these mysteries is what the numbers mean in chords, right? I'm actually going to talk about two things at once here, right? I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Thinking about how guitar players learn chords, right? So when you first start learning the guitar, you learn C or E or A minor, G, all the kind of chords that you would normally learn, right? And the way we learn them is we put our fingers in a particular position, we find out what strings we're supposed to play, memorize it, and that's how you play that chord, that's it. We generally don't think too much about the actual notes that are in the chord or the role, what they're doing, what their function is. Now, if you think about, if you applied that way of learning to learn every chord, right? How many chords are there? Somebody Google it. I'm only joking, right? But anyway, right, I'm going to start from G, right? So here's just some examples in G, right? So the sort of different permutations of a G chord, right? So you've got G major, G minor. I'm not going to play them all because I probably don't even know them all, right? So G major, G minor. Then we start adding some numbers. Let's go the lowest number I can think of. G sus2, G sus4, G6, G major 7, G minor 7, G dominant 7, and then we can go into nines. G major 9, minor 9, dominant 9, 11s, major 11, minor 11, dominant 11, 13s, major 13, minor 13, dominant 13. We've also got a whole different kettle of fish. We've got diminished and augmented. And then when we've got the dominant chords, that opens up a whole kettle of fish with altereds. So you could do like a G, 9, flat 5, sharp 13, if you want. You could do that. What else have we got? There's loads of chords, right? So if you imagine applying the same way that you learn your first dozen chords or bar chords or whatever to every chord in every key, you're not expected to memorize them all, right? It's not the ideal way to learn how chords work. It's better to have a system, right? And that's kind of like what we're doing here. We're talking about the intervals, right? And not specific notes. We're not talking about C, E flat, G as a C minor or whatever. We're talking about intervals, the distances between notes and where they are on the fretboard layout, being able to recognize them, all right? Another part of this we've not talked about is actually recognizing them by sound, which is probably more important. Like I said, I'm mostly an ear player, so that's more important to me. But anywho, moving on. We're going to talk about the numbers then, because that does mystify some things for players. What do the numbers mean in chords? Right. If you remember at the start, all right, here we go. 40-17 chords, 9 diminished. Great. Oh, Cushman saying great lesson. Thank you very much. Awesome. Right. Here we go. So we're going back to it. So, back to our triad, right? In this case of C, our triad is C, E, G, right? That's the 3 notes to make the basic chord, and it's the first note, the third note, and the fifth note from the scale, right? So you can think about it like this. Anytime there's like a chord, you know, A, E, F, D, C, whatever, think of them as always being something that we don't say 1, 3, 5, right? So a C major chord is 1, 3, 5 of the C major scale. An F major chord is 1, 3, 5 of the F major scale. A D major chord is 1, 3, 5 of the D major scale. You get the idea, right? It's the same every time, right? And you could go a little bit further with that if you want, and you could say a D minor chord is the root, sorry, the 1 flat 3 5 of what I forgot what example I just gave. I think it was D minor. A D minor chord is the 1 flat 3 5 of the D major scale, or an E minor chord is 1 flat 3 5 of the E major scale. Now you could say that it's 1 3 5 of the E minor scale. It's the same thing. We'll leave that for another day. But anyway, so far so good, hopefully. So check this out. Here's my C major chord triad. C, E, G, right? Root, third, fifth. So given that a C chord is 1 3 5, what's the next inevitable number in this sequence? 1 3 5. No one's going to get this in the chat in time because there's a 10-second delay, but I'll do it for you. 7, right? So usually that's the next note that we get added in to form the sort of most commonly used extensions in chords, right? So what this is here, right, I'm adding in the 7th note from the scale. Look, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. This is the one I'm adding in, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got the 1, 3, 5 of the chord plus the 7, right? So this chord is a C major, 1, 3, 5, 7, C major 7, Does that make sense? Hopefully that might have been an aha moment. Let's look at this on guitar, right? So a C major 7, we're going to play a C major chord. Sorry, I keep turning my volume up too much. Right, so what I've got here is, here's my C, here's my third. This is the kind of thing we should be recognising from that scale pattern up there. See that first to third note, the little staircase? These are major thirds, you can spot them everywhere. But when we get, no wait, I'm not going to say that, right? Shh. Okay. So there's my C major, right? Root, third, and then the G is the fifth. Now this C here that I'm about to play, that's a duplication of the bass note that I've already got. Now what note do I need for my seventh again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need a B in there. Now it just so happens that where I'm playing that C, this could be a B by just using the open B note. Ooh, isn't that pretty? C major 7 chord. So you maybe already knew this chord, right? And how to play it, but hopefully now we'll understand a little bit how it works. So we're basically taking the numbers are their position in the scale. Notice how I keep using the keyboard. Do you think that the keyboard is an easier layout for your brain, even although you don't play the keyboard or the piano? I don't. These letters on here are to help me too. I was making mistakes today when I was trying to teach this on piano. I was like hitting the wrong keys and everything and embarrassing myself in front of people who also play the piano. Anyway, so yeah, how does the keyboard layout work for you for visualizing things? Does it make more sense than this? Because this is the biggest problem with guitar. It's a notoriously difficult layout to learn things on, right? See, if I play this E note here at that pitch on piano, this is the only E you can get of that pitch on the piano, right? You can have another sort of like 3 octaves this way and another 3 octaves that way. You can only get that E, that pitch there on that one key. On our guitar, right, we can get an E open, we can get the exact same pitch E, fret 5 on the B, 9 on the G, 14 on the D, and if you've got 24 frets you can even get a 6th one on your E string, all the same pitch. So it's an annoying instrument, but it does have benefits. So where are we at, by the way? People are starting, Robbie F seems to be getting the most out of this, Robbie. Great stuff, Robbie. I'm glad this has been useful for someone. Okay, good. So listen, what I was saying, the whole point in this is that I'm going to do chord of the week every week in the live streams, which is only going to take like 5 minutes. And I'll get a chord and it'll be something like, I don't know, I'm going to do this. There you go, this is a G minor 7, right? But rather than saying, here's a G minor 7, this is what I hate doing and I don't want to do. I don't want to say, here's G minor 7. It's finger 1, fret 3 on the E string, finger 3, fret 5 on the A string, and then you bar these 3 there, G minor 7, ta-da! Right, that is useless information to everybody. This is why I wanted to do a theory lesson primer, so we could talk about intervals. And I know we didn't get like as deep as we should have done for it, but I want to be able to show you next week. Here's a G minor 7. I want to say, look, here's the root note, G. We're putting the 5th in next, which isn't the right order for intervals, but that's what we're doing. There's the octave there, but we're not using the octave, we're going to use this flat 7 here, which makes it a minor 7. I know we don't understand this yet based on what we've spoke of so far, but if we do a little bit more, we'll start to get this. So we've got root 5th, flat 7, there's my flat 3rd, which makes it a minor chord, right, and then I've got another 5th, then I've got another root, G minor 7. This is the way, I think this is the most benefiting way to understand chords. And like I said, learning and memorizing every single chord in the world ever isn't a good way of doing it. But if you understand all the ingredient component parts within the chord, then you can manipulate it to your liking. So if that's a G minor 7, what if I wanted to add in a 9? I'll add in a minor 9. So I'm just going to take, well, a 9's actually there. That's too far. I'm going to add this one in here. There's a minor 9. I like my 13s. But anyway. Right, so yeah, you can manipulate the chords based on the sort of notes in their scale position and a bit of a framework. It's still useful to memorise chord shapes and that for quickness, but you always want to be able to stop yourself and say, right, wait a minute now, what's going on here? What if I did this and that? And then thinking analytically is the way forward. Right, I think that is the end of the theory primer. Is there any questions? If there's any questions, chuck them in the chat. I'm going to have a wee look back in the chat and see how we got on there. Sorry, that was about 40-ish minutes of that. And I didn't even take a drink. Let's do that. Right. Excuse me. If you've been on the live stream before, I'm sure everybody's familiar with this channel that's here. Excuse me. And you'll know that the kind of stuff I do, I try and have a bit of banter, a bit of fun, daft guitar reviews, having a laugh with guitar. That's my whole thing, is I want to have a laugh and all that kind of stuff. I teach. It's my day job. The YouTube is my respite from doing the teaching stuff. But it's 2025, trying out some different things, see what it's all about. But what I don't like about teaching is I get a wee bit too serious about it sometimes. And I want to have a laugh. Right, you know what? Let's get some backing tunes on, unless there's any questions. No, there's not going to be a test. We're all good. Right, hold on. Let me, let's get the tunes on. Let's get this party started. Let's get this party started. Sorry, I don't know what that was. Is that it on? Wait a minute, everybody calm down. Everybody calm down. Hope you all calm down. There we go. Hopefully that's it on. Right. Get the chat back up. Alright, how's everybody doing? Sorry I missed everything. Robbie says, I just found the wall that your learning has run to. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, mate. Glad it was useful. Right, there was so much chat going on. Lindsay's in. How you doing, mate? Thanks for coming. Sorry, I missed a lot of people. Poo Ninja's in the house as well. Excellent. And thank you for asking me, asking to hit the like button. Sorry if I've missed anybody. Danny Soul's in as well. How you doing, mate? Thanks for coming. You voted basic. Lol, you're 95% self-taught. There you go. Brilliant, mate. I couldn't say the same thing. I've had quite a lot of tuition over the years. Some good, some not so good. But mainly good. Usually the problem's me. Okay. Right, so what's everybody else been up to? How's your new year getting on? There we go. Peter Collins, this is helping you with your keyboard chords. At the moment, you can only play 3-note major and minor chords. Well, not anymore. There you go. Guitar Quackery, you actually love music theory. I do as well, mate, to a point. I don't know as much theory as I would like to know. I actually responded this in a comment to someone earlier on from the poll. I don't know as much theory as I should know, right? I should learn more, but I would actually rather that I was more confident in applying what I already know to my playing, which I don't. So you can learn as much theory as you want, but you need to be applying it to your playing. There's actually a lot of players out there who know loads of theory. They know more theory than they can actually play. Yeah, it's kind of like, what do you call it? Is that a good example of analysis paralysis, maybe, in some way? Yeah. I can't think of any examples of people, but I don't want to do that. But there are people who know more theory and maybe can't play so good. I think getting a good mix of getting the ear in there is super duper important. Work on your ear just as much as theory, and get as much practice as possible. Yeah. I love chords, by the way. I love chords. Right. Paul Taylor, now to make your fingers go there. Yeah, that's the other thing. That's just repetition, isn't it? I mean, you can get that. Good stuff. Robbie F, what I've learned from you today tells me that it's even more important to learn all of the notes of the keyboard by memory. Yeah, I wish I learned them as well. It's the kind of thing I use for reference, but and there's not that many to memorise, and they're all in the same place. I've got no excuse for not knowing them very well. I do know them, but sometimes I make mistakes. Who doesn't? Gem, very useful. As someone almost entirely self-taught, it's hard to know which direction to take my learning. Though I knew a lot of this before, I thank you for the sense direction. Ah, cool, yeah. See, that's it. That's what how I like to call it, the glue lesson. Because even if there's just one little component thing that you missed on day one, it could be one of these little aha things that makes a lot of things that you already knew make a bit more sense, hopefully. And it's such a hard thing to teach music theory because there is a linear approach. You kind of can go from A to B, but it's incredibly boring, and it does require looking at notation, I think, to learn it in the best way, in my opinion. But learning theory on guitar is tricky, and you're dealing 99% of the time with people who are already experienced, and their technique and playing level is already light years beyond what they actually know what they're doing. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you've got basically your technique, and then you've got your theory knowledge, which is often the case with guitar players, and ideally you don't want this because you don't want your technique to come down. What you want is your theory level to raise up. Yeah, anywho, what have we got to there? Oh, Jojo Fry's deleted something. What did you say? Was that a question? On Lammy, I just remembered. I won a duck race on Lammy's live stream. Get in there. Years I've been waiting on that. And you know what's the worst thing, Lammy? I missed it. I missed it, right? Yoshi just got home from work, was coming in the door, and I just heard, and Steve Cassidy, I was like, what? I ran through, I was like, oh my God! I couldn't believe it. And then you got all the congratulations coming in, and I was typing away, I was like, Muggs, where are you at, Muggs? Sorry, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to check out the Lamb's live stream on Monday nights. It's brilliant. He's just an all-round entertainer, great presenter, great player, great singer, and he does games, stories, just like at least an hour and a half to 2 hours of banter. Yeah, great stuff, get over there. But he does the duck race every week, and I've been going there most weeks for over a year now, probably near 2 years. Well, a year and a half, easy. And this is the first time I've won the duck race, and I've been wanting to win it so bad for years. And Muggs, Maria Muggs Davies, that's why she's called Muggs. Because every time you win one of Lammy's competitions, you win a mug, the Lamb mug. And Maria has won more mugs than anybody. She actually, the only other time I got close to winning something, it was against Muggs, and we did like a, what do you call it? An eliminator thing, and she beat me, and I was raging. No, Lammy, no, I was there. I promised. Lammy, I'll have the mug here. I'll be like, oh, Lammy's live stream tastes so good. Come on, how could you not want that? Eh? Right, where do we get there? Paul Taylor, the keyboard illustration really helps. Great, glad to hear it, mate. GRB Aquatics, lifting, removing fingers, but staying in open D pattern, so musical to me. Lol. All right, okay, so what you're talking about there is playing a D, natural, sus4, and a sus2. This is classic fun stuff to do. Yeah, great fun. See, I'd love to talk about all that kind of stuff. We'll maybe do, when I'm doing chord of the week, if it's a particular type of chord, like, so say for example, it was the G minor 7 like I did tonight, we could talk about what actually makes up a minor 7 chord. And you won't just learn a G minor 7, you'll learn all minor 7s. Eh? Maybe. I don't want to do them too long, but you get the idea. James Tahada, how you doing, mate? Thanks for coming. Tahada. I'll get it one day, mate. Sorry. It's hard to get things right on live streams. There's too much pressure. IMA640, congrats on my duck triumph. Thank you so much, mate. Thank you. That was the highlight of the year so far. But it really was the highlight of the year. I've not emailed the address yet, mate. I will get on that, I promise. Actually, funny you should mention, I actually went last night and rewatched the moment of my victory. Because I'd missed it. And I thought, yeah, I better email the lamb, but I've not done it yet. Great stuff. Yeah, I've got it recorded, mate. I've got it on tape now. Indy, truth be told, your guitars have been stored away for over 30 years. Forced retirement, thinking about picking up again. Do it, mate. Get stuck back into the guitar again. Yeah, go for it, mate. Get stuck in. Hello all from Muggs. Muggs is in the house. There she is. See, you've said pronounced Tejada, but is that Tejada? Tejada. It's the accent. It's tricky, isn't it, as well? Because you're whereabouts is it you're from again, James? I know you're America, but I can't remember where exactly you're at. But there we go. How is this stream doing today? I bet it's not busy at all because of the content. Where are we at? Oh no, it is. There's just as much people here as normal, apparently. I'm sorry about that tonight, people. Right, there's no loads of time left. How about I tell you what's happening on the channel this week? What is happening on the channel? Oh, tomorrow is a video, right? Big changes. Tomorrow is my first ever sponsored video. It's not frozen. First ever sponsored video, so this is where we find out how much that affects your mind. I'm just a, what do you call it? A shill now. Let's find out tomorrow. Probably a shill now. And that's the angle I'm going with for the thumbnail and title as well, because it's hard to do an unboxing and make it interesting. So yeah, there you go. Sponsored video tomorrow. Sponsored shill unboxing. And it's something, it's a really bad guitar. No, it's not a really bad guitar. It's a really bad guitar to do an experiment with. Because it's not normal, right? It'll all be explained. So that's what's going on. Graham Campbell, sponsored by Iron Brew. I wish, mate. That would be awesome. I want some of that Iron Brew money. But yeah, in terms of the sponsored stuff, I don't know. I'm experimenting with it this year, right? So I'm trying it, see how it goes. But I don't know. If I want to make a go at this, like, what do you call it? If I want to make any money out of YouTube, then it seems to be a legit route to go. So I might have to do that more, but we'll see. I generally don't enjoy doing the sponsored videos as much because it's more pressure. But anywho, yeah. And then once we've done, Anton, no, it's not a 9-string, but it's that kind of idea. Like, it's just as stupid as that. Like, why you would do your first something different, like a sponsored video. Yeah, you'll see. But yeah, I'm looking forward to unboxing it because I've got it here and I want to use it, but I can't use it until it's been unboxed because that's the YouTube rules, isn't it? So yeah, right, what else is going on? Loads of stuff's going on in here. So as you can maybe see, the wall, oh my god, this stuff, I'm probably going to do a video on this anyway because I did a video this week about the current state of this studio. Sorry, this room that I use to fart about in and make videos. Yeah, so I've made some changes. We've got a new sofa, I've put some stuff on the walls. Got a couple of desks here now that are at an appropriate height. The next thing I need to do is this monitor here that I'm looking at. I need to get that lowered by about 4 inches so that I don't have to stare up at the ceiling all the time and do my neck and my back in. And I'll be able to get my chair down to an appropriate level. But at the moment, I'm up at the top here to speak to you. Guitar hangers are coming, so I'm hopefully going to get more guitars on the wall than there was. There was 4 before, which is actually quite a clean look. Sorry, but I'm going to try and get 7 across there. But I can't go as far back as here because I've got a radiator. Speaking of radiators, check this out. I painted my radiator. It's been annoying us for years. Not years. Yeah, actually, 2 years. And look, I don't know if you can see this. See this there? Right? That's a chip. 4 coats I did a black. Right, 4 coats. 4 hours in between coats. And then I moved my filing cabinet, my metal filing cabinet, and the metal corner scuffed off it. I was like, ah! So now I've got to just touch up that wee bit. And then the desk that's going behind me arrives on Monday. So that's about it, I think. And then I just need to tidy the place up. Rock and roll. Right, sorry, I've just been talking about myself. What's everybody else been up to? Jed Ellis, how you doing, mate? Thanks for coming. You're late. You're not late, mate. You're all good. Looks like catch up. You catch up, mate. Great stuff. Congratulations on the sponsored from Gem. Thank you very much, Gem. Not a 9-string, no. GRB Aquatics. Not a resolution or anything, but I'm determined to press record and upload more YouTube content this year. Do it, mate. It'd be great. Why not? You've got a load of cool guitars as well, so it'd be cool to share them if you've not already shared them all. The Lamb says a banjo. No, but I've not been able to get that one out of my head since it was on your live stream the other day, mate. The Harley Benton 6-string guitar banjo. What do you call that? A gitanjo? I don't know. That's a great name. Gitanjo. But I really fancy one of them. I always wanted one since I seen Joe Satriani playing one on this documentary that I had on tape. It was when he was recording the album Joe Satriani, and it was called something like Real Satriani, or was it the Satch Tapes or something? I can't remember. I think it was Real Satriani. I used to watch it all the time. Like, I totally wore that tape out, and he was playing in the intro of that. One of those 6-string guitar banjo things, and I was like, oh, I want one of them. I think it's actually what he used on the intro to The Extremist. Is it The Extremist? If you know it. Sorry, I'm a Satriani fan. Anywho, Jojo Fry, you want to be sponsored by Manscaping? It would be hilarious. That would be funny. Go for it. See if you can get it on the go. Reach out to them. You never know. Daniel Scott, hi, you just bought a pink S-type thing off Gear for Music for 50 quid. Daft Project. Good on you, mate. Nice one. Search for tone. It's black now. Yeah, the radiator's black now. Well, most of it. Apart from that wee chip. Maria, did I use radiator paint? Yes, I did, Mugs. I used radiator paint. It was a nice name of colour as well. Can't remember what. Charcoal-y something. IMA 640 Siamese neck jet. You've lost me there. Search for tone. You should use chalkboard paint on the walls, then you can write chords up on the wall for future lessons. What future lessons, mate? That was it. That's it. That's why I don't teach on the internets, because it's boring, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be. That's half the job, is trying to make it fun and interesting, but yeah. It's very hard to make the basics of music theory fun and interesting. But no, chalkboard paint's a good idea, mate. Thank you. GRB, you were so close to ordering a lap steel guitar for sale at Artist Guitars, bargain, but didn't. Well, you've got all year, mate. You could get one. James Tejeda, you really have to go over chords and scales. I know you might have missed the start, mate. You could feel free to rewatch this on catch up. Maybe watch it at 2 times the speed, because you probably know most of it. Yeah, there you go. Mark Greening, leave the cabinet as it is, as you've now got a relic. Ah, yes. The filing cabinet's through there. That actually has to go somewhere else. I need to get rid of that. I mismeasured. I measured so much stuff, but I mismeasured one thing and it won't fit under the shelf in the new desk. Oh, pardon me. And again, oh dear, we're getting gassy. Satch Tapes is epic from Mark Greening. Agreed, mate. Steve Rezer, this was a fun lesson. Thank you, mate. Cheers, mate. Hope that helped. Amanda Lynn says Johnny 3-Bar. Yep, The Extremist, that's the one. Purple Rocket, congrats for being the first to relic a radiator. I was already relicked before. I actually restored it and then relicked it. Oh man Zen, the banjo setting on the Line 6 Shuriken sounds surprisingly fantastic. And I wonder if I've got that on my on my HX Stomp. Do I have that? Oh, another thing I've got on the way, because what's his name? I forgot his name. Gringo Green. I think it was Gringo Green suggested. You can't see it, can you? I'm going to show you. This amp here, you can't see for the chair. This Fender amp, right, it's on a really low table, but the desk that's going here is going to be the same height as this. which means this amp is going to be up here. So he suggested getting something different. And I was like, nah, that amp's great and I need it for live streams and stuff. But turns out I might be able to make it work with a Fender GT40. It'll work with the GT7 foot switch, hopefully. So yeah, I've got one on the way. I found a used one. There we go. Where did we get to? Maria Muggs, you're going to miss seeing the bonsai tree and the lightsaber lamp on your shelf. Well, I'm going to hope I might get that back. It's just if I can get it at height, because if I'm going to be down here now, I don't want the shelf to be up here. You know, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's a Lego bonsai tree that I got from my sister for my Christmas a couple of years ago. Search for Tone, you don't think anyone was bored. That's good news. Sorry, we're just finishing up here. I know we're a little bit over, but don't worry, we're all heading out soon. Paul Crane, you just recently got the TC Plethora X1. You got it for a smaller board you're putting together for travelling. It's quite impressive, actually. Nice one, mate. Good on you. I've seen there's been loads of videos about that, but I've actually not looked at it. But I did kind of like the idea of the previous version. What was it, the X5 that had the 5 different stomps on it? I was actually looking at that before I got my HX stomp. Old Man Zen, it's not from the pedal, but the modelling guitar, the Variax. Ah, okay, got you. The Lamb, rotate your setup so the depth of the room separates your fill right from the backlight lighting. That's how you get the rockstar look. Right, yes, mate. I mean, I've got it set up a little bit different for tonight, but yeah, usually I get all the way back there, hopefully, with the guitars. But yeah, it could be better. But if I go too far, then I'll get the window and it's a bit of a mess there. But yeah, you're right. There's definitely better ways to do this. Jojo says, the thing is, we don't care about fun, Steve. We're guitar geeks. We love boring stuff. Good point. That's it. Right, we're almost on the way out here. The lamp barn doors on the fill light help immensely. Ah, I wonder if I could get them for this. Or I can maybe make something. Great shout, mate. I'm going to look into that. I'm just going to make some cardboard ones. Nice. Millhouse, excuse me. Milehouse Studios is in the house. I'm just on the way out. Sorry, you're late, babe. You'll be rewatching this whole video tomorrow in the workshop in my pants. So glad to hear that, mate, that I could accompany you in your pants. Milehouse Studios, by the way, if you don't know, guys, this is a ridiculously great channel for guitar, lutherie, tech stuff, projects, and he's just, what a laugh, man. Honestly, this guy's banter is like 400%. Amazing. There you go, look. Anton knows. He's been watching the videos, hilarious commentary. See, it's brilliant. You need to check out Milehouse Studios. And congratulations, mate, you just reached 10k this week, didn't you, mate? Fantastic, mate. So yeah, get stuck in, check out Milehouse Studios, great stuff. Right, okay, let's get out of here. Relax Meditation, the Line 6 Variax really is awesome. You've got 3, wow, that's plenty. GRB Aquatics, 4:30 AM Friday here in Western Australia. What a legend you are. Too early for PV Bandit 112 Red Stripe. Nah, mate, get stuck in. As long as you don't have neighbours. Old Man Zen's got the Shuriken. Milehouse Studios says shut up. Right, no worries, mate. Oh, brilliant. Anton's just put the link in for Milehouse. Fantastic. Right, let's get out of here, guys. Thank you all so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Come and check out the video tomorrow if you like. See if I'm a paid shill. Alright, can I be trusted anymore? Can I be trusted in the first place? Let's find out tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time. See you later. Did anybody learn anything? I might have learned something. Maybe not. 39 of you stayed to the end, I think. Or, I don't know how to read these stats. Anyway, this is me trying to figure out how to turn off the stream. Right, cheers for watching and that. See you later. You're all the best. Ciao.